Hey VC, this is Harvey of Spin the Black Circle. Hope everyone is well and doing good things. And welcome to episode 2 of Walking the Groove. I said I was lucky and felt gratitude in the first episode for having Sutton Park on my doorstep, the one of the biggest urban parks in Europe. But even more on my doorstep is where I am now, which is literally step off my drive and I'm into Hardwick Woods. And able to just go for a walk immediately, and goes past a golf course too. So in the middle of again in the middle of COVID and lockdown, it was so good to be able to just, even when there were distance restrictions, to just step off the drive, and here I am in this fantastic woods just on my doorstep. I'm about to pass over a rail track, so I'm going to have to switch the video off in a second. But first of all, the topic of this episode is who are, in my opinion, the 5 best active bands in the world. And the inspiration for this is that I'm getting sick of seeing these videos and in online articles and social media about the death of music, and how the Rick Beato thing of the golden age of music is dead. And I think that's both a function of age and not keeping an open mind, I have to say. And I say this as a chap in his 50s, but also assuming that just because music in terms of recorded format doesn't sell in the millions it used to, in terms of shifting units, because it's switched to streaming services and live gigs, that assumption being that is somehow telling us that there isn't great music out there. So I'm going to debunk that with five active bands at the minute. In other words, bands who are still recording, still relevant and still touring. So let's talk about that now. Who, in my opinion, are the 5 best active bands in the world? Okay, so in no particular order, I'm going to start with the 12-piece band from Jacksonville, Florida, formed in 2010, talking about the Tedeschi Trucks Band. So nucleus of this band is husband and wife, Susan Tedeschi on vocals, so previously a solo vocalist prior to this band forming, and Derek Trucks, formerly of the Derek Trucks Band, Slade and lead guitarist of some renown. So pedigree of their musicianship as a duo, backed by this fantastic band, horn section, keyboards, drums, you name it, full backing vocal section to the band, so 12 pieces, I say. And over the course of their debut LP, Revelator, through to their last album, Future Soul, it's an incredible body of work. But more than anything, if you're looking for a band who are able to A, play their instruments, and B, record superb albums, there's a train going past, record superb albums that resonate. They're an incredible band. During COVID, they released it was a 5 LP set, or just after COVID, named I Am the Moon. That's amazing, but that's a bit deep. I wouldn't start there. Probably start with Revelator, their debut LP. But I think their LP released just this year, Future Soul, is up there actually, in terms of composition, sequencing, musicianship. They really just are the real deal. So powerful, soulful vocals from Susan Tedeschi, one of the best guitarists on the planet, but also that X factor that they gel. So reasonable sized band. They're not an underground band, quite big in the States, but not a household name by any stretch. But Tedeschi Trucks Band, again, reason to debunk the theory that it's all over and that the best music is been and gone. That's section 1. So I'm just walking to the path through Hardwick Woods on the way to the golf course, which is a beautiful sight on a sunny day like this. I've got a hat on because it's much colder than it looks. So if you're in the States or elsewhere and you're thinking, surely it can't be cold when the sun's like that, you haven't experienced spring in the UK. There's still a nip in the air. But beautiful morning nonetheless, is this walk I'm taking before work. Okay, second band that I think debunked the Rick Beato theory that it's all over are Fontaines DC from Dublin, Ireland. 5-piece band, formed in 2014. 4 albums so far, starting with Doggerel in 2019. That Rarest of Things, actually, they were signed to the Partisan label. They are signed to the Partisan label, normally a punk label. And what Partisan have allowed them to do is grow as a band into something truly spectacular. So their debut LP, Doggerel, it's really good, but it doesn't yet have or reflect the identity of a band. There are fantastic songs, a range of styles, kind of mostly indie punk. That first album with some pop thrown in, but then you see their development through their second LP, A Hero's Death, through Skinty Fire, and that sound starting to come together finally to I think what is the Fontaines DC sound on Romance, which was released in 2024, I believe. That LP is the coalesces into something that is their sound, which is I would say simply as indie pop, but the other thing about Fontaines DC is the depth of their music, both lyrically and musically. It's politically charged at time, definitely socially charged in terms of its true depth of what they're trying to say about society and their place in it. And what you can sense as well is they've clearly toured the world from being this little band from Dublin, and you can see that they're a worldly wise band by the time they get to their last LP, Romance. So entirely debunks the theory that it's all over. Check out Fontaines DC, and I probably would start with Romance, their latest LP, and work backwards if you haven't heard Fontaines DC. So that's 2 of 5. Okay, so this is Little Aston Golf Course in the West Midlands, just backs onto Hardwick Woods. I'm not breaking the rules here. I'm following a path, an actual walking path that goes right through the middle of the golf course, and you're allowed to walk on. Obviously, you've got to watch later in the day for golf balls and being hit by them. But yeah, it's a nice place to be this time in the morning, walking through the middle of this well-maintained golf course. Okay, so the third band that for me debunked the theory that it's all over are the 1975. Definitely one of the biggest active young bands on the planet. And 5 albums in, still only in the 30s, I think early 30s, and led by singer Matt Healy. Very socially conscious and poetic lyricist, can be a bit of a pleb at times in terms of his onstage persona, but let's not hold that against him. But actually the real protagonist in the band is the drummer and electronic programmer, George Daniel. He's really, despite Matt's presence as the key man, George Daniel is really the beating heart of the 1975. Quite unsophisticated on their first couple of LPs. I would jump to the 2 albums that they released either side of COVID, which were A Brief Inquiry into Online Relationships, and particularly Notes on a Conditional Form. Long experimental LPs mixed with traditional songs and these electronic pop ditties, instrumentals, largely the work of George Daniel, as I said, the drummer, but really well sequenced and really well put together. And then they kind of coalesced, keep using that word, into a sound that was more song structured on their last LP, their latest LP, being funny in a foreign language. So kind of 11 tracks, more traditional, but still has that undercurrent of that electronic indie sound mixed with these socially conscious Matt Healy vocals. Up there with the best bands on the planet at the minute, I think. So if you like the sound of that and you haven't tried them and you want to prove to yourself there's no all over, check out the 1975. I'd maybe start with their last LP, Being Funny in a Foreign Language, just to get yourself into them, and then move back to the other LPs I mentioned. But yeah, definitely 1975 for me, debunked the theory that it's all over. Okay, band 4 of 5 to prove this point, or a band from Brooklyn, New York, who are 4 albums in, named Geese. And must be something about the Partisan record label, because again, like Fontaine's DC, they are a Partisan Records signed act. And the album that's really got everybody's attention and appeared on lots of critics' best of lists for last year is their 4th album, Getting Killed. It's excellent. It is again, it's somewhere between Television and The Strokes, and I would say Talking Heads too. It's art rock, guitar based art rock, really experimental, but earworm too. So it's quite a difficult balance, isn't it? It's easy for any band to just be incredibly experimental, but how do you do that whilst also catching and retaining the listener's attention? And Getting Killed by Geese from last year, I think it rightly appeared on lots of critics' best of lists of 2025. Led by a singer named Cameron Winter, whose debut solo LP actually came out 2 years ago, named Heavy Metal. Quite hard to get hold of on vinyl. I still haven't got it on vinyl, but yeah, Geese is Getting Killed. If you like the sound of a band striking their palette somewhere between Talking Heads, Television with a bit of The Strokes, definitely a kind of New York ethic to it too, and a punk ethic, and truly earworm stuff for sounds that are quite weird, then check out Getting Killed by Geese, and again, it will debunk the theory that it's all over. So 5 of 5 is another British band actually, 2 albums in, so still very much developing their sound. The unnamed Wonder Horse, and probably the most commercial of the 5 bands that I mentioned so far. It's kind of indie pop rock, really well done. 2 albums. I recommend both of them, Cub and Midas. It's definitely a development sound by the time you get to Midas, but it's kind of I hate to say this, but Coldplay, if they were a little bit more edgy and a little bit more experimental. I'm sure the band would hate me for saying that, but again, you know, a band that you'd be genuinely excited about as they get into their third album and beyond. And I bet they're excellent live too. So yeah, Wonder Horse, I would definitely recommend. Probably start with Cub, their first LP released I think in 2022, and then move on to Midas, which was released just 2 years ago. But and that's just 5. There was lots of others that I left off the list. But for Rick Beato and those who think that everything ended somewhere around 1989, I think we're in the wrong place here. And on a planet of what, 78 billion people, there are always people making great music. You just have to go and find it. So check out those 5 albums. Tell me what you think in the comments below. Tell me what you think of this series. It's definitely getting my cogs turning, and I'm really enjoying doing these walks. I will get further afield than just my doorstep for the coming walks too, starting with this weekend, I think. Finally, I should be back hopefully this evening for Friday Night Vinyl, because I'm not going to stop actually showing some music and talking to you from a music room too. But until then, peace and have a good day. Bye.